The greatest story ever told. You've heard the one about good versus evil, love versus hatred, darkness versus light. In this story, the hero always puts his own livelihood on the line for the greater good and ultimately ends up victorious. This has been the plot to every story you've ever heard and loved. But what if I told you that the version of the story that you've heard so many times has been completely corrupted? That you've been told so many spin-offs of the original story that the line which divides good and evil has been blurred to the point where they are indistinguishable. Let's slow it down a bit. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth is one of the most renowned rappers of all time. It's crazy how this man started out as a gang-affiliated black kid rapping in the streets of Compton and morphed into one of the most influential voices of this generation. His life's work has clearly become the most distinct among all of his peers, because he never shies away from being brutally honest and laying it all out in his music. What's most intriguing about him though has to be how he maintained this character of that good kid regardless of all the madness he lived through in the city of LA to get to the level where he's at today. All this makes Kendrick the perfect hero archetype, a people's champion that your sons and nephews can look up to. However, an important question to ask is if Kendrick is as good of a person as he thinks he is, or better yet, as we think he is. To understand this, let's start off with a quote from the Son of Man. "Why do you call me good? No one is good except God alone." Listen, I'm not here to retell you the story of God and Satan. I'm just here to show you that God is not involved in any of these things that the world regards as good, and hopefully make you reconsider what good actually is. Let's start in the desert, shall we? 40 days into his hermitage, Jesus Christ was paid a visit by the devil, and he began to tempt him. The temptation started with a minor test of turning stones into bread to prove he's the true Son of Man. But Jesus passed the test by not cooperating with the devil's test altogether. The second was another test to prove he's truly the Son of Man by jumping off a temple for the angels to catch him. Christ, again, passed the test by not complying. The third test was more blatant than the other two. The devil outwardly asked him to bow down to him in promise of all the world's kingdoms and their glory. Now, two things to take away from this third test. Firstly, it wasn't that much different from the first two because complying with the enemy is the exact same as bowing down to him, which coincidentally, or not, was the original test that man failed. Secondly, the devil had all the earth's kingdoms and their glory in his possession for him to offer them to Jesus Christ in the first place. We know this because Christ doesn't even call him a liar for saying he will give them to him. He simply says,
"Get away from me, Satan." I worship the Lord, my God, and serve him only.
Roundabout now you're probably wondering, what on earth does this have to do with Kendrick and Drake? Well, the only benchmark for what is good is Jesus Christ. He is the original hero to the greatest story ever told, and the only villain remains the devil. This means that every subsequent hero must be compared to Jesus Christ to see if we're truly dealing with a hero or just another civilian. So in light of every decision the supposed hero makes, we're supposed to ask the age-old question, what would Jesus do? When a brother strikes you in the cheek, what would Jesus do? When you turn the other cheek and he strikes you over and over again, what would Jesus do? When the devil visits you in your solitude and whispers to you that if you prove that you are who you say you are, then you will have all the nations and their glory. How would Jesus respond to that?
Who can reach us? Only God can teleport this type of freedom. God, my confession is yours. But who am I if I don't go to war? There's opportunity when living with loss. I discover myself but not far short. Raise my hands to a falling sky.
Well, the truth is we're all fallible as people and cannot truly be good without Christ. Kendrick himself would be the first to tell you that he is not your savior. and that he'd rather watch the whole party die. But as Lecrae so wonderfully put it,
Christ ain't watched the party die, he died instead of it.
he died for the Diddy's and the Gandhis, the Trumps and the Kamalas, the Kendricks and the Drakes alike. So let us rejoice and be glad that no matter how flawed we are, he loves us more than we can ever imagine. Turn to him today and away from the devil, because all the things the devil has to offer are temporary. What Christ offers is eternal.